What's going on YouTube? Geosnorid here. So in today's video we have some interesting news about iOS 12 jailbreaks and their importance for Zerodium, a vulnerability broker, and of course I have some warnings about the iOS 12.1.3. So let's get straight into the video. I'm going to start with the news. Yes, it made actual headlines that Zerodium, a broker for vulnerabilities, actually a huge company in this field, is paying $2 million for an Apple iOS remote jailbreak for iOS 12. And you're probably going to ask me, why is this interesting? Why is this important for you? Well, this sets very important events in the jailbreak community, and I'm going to get into that. So if you go ahead and here on Zerodium, they have this page in here. They are pretty much acquiring vulnerabilities from various security researchers, and they pay the vulnerability researchers accordingly for their findings. Now they have a mobile section in here, but they get vulnerabilities for operating systems too, for web browsers, and for whatever software they decide, like Microsoft Office and whatever. Now if you go ahead and here on the mobile smartphone section, they have Apple iOS 12 listed. So if you go ahead right below that, you can see that they're pretty much giving $500,000 for a Safari and a Sandbox escape exploit on iOS. But also they're giving $1,500,000 for an Apple iOS remote jailbreak with one click. And of course there is the fact that it has to have persistence, which means that it has to be untethered. And then the very huge price in here, $2 million for an Apple iOS remote jailbreak, which is again untethered. Now this is actually very important because, as you can see, this all include vulnerabilities. If you go down below in here, they have a table where they can pretty much show you what they would pay you for a specific vulnerability on a specific system. And you can see that iOS vulnerabilities are actually pretty high if you go to the mobile one in here, which is for iOS, Android, or any OS. And they have in here remote jailbreaks with persistence, they have remote code execution, they have local privilege escalation, and they have Sandbox escape or bypass as well. Now, these three in here are actually parts of jailbreaks that we actually use. Both the Sandbox escape or bypass, the local privilege escalation, the remote code execution, these are often used in a jailbreak. And if security researchers actually send the vulnerabilities to Zerodium, Zerodium is not going to make them publicly available. They will pretty much sell it further for a bigger price to their customers. So these vulnerabilities are never going to see the light of the day until many years later, when they probably get patched. So you can see that the iPhone related jailbreaks and Sandbox escapes score very high up, which means that these vulnerability companies are pretty much trying to get as many iOS vulnerabilities as possible from the security researchers who are able to find them. And why is this something bad for the jailbreak community? Well, imagine the scenario like this. If they are sending the vulnerabilities to Zerodium, they cannot release them publicly after that, which means that they will get the payment, they will get the bounty, but they will not be able to give us, the jailbreak community, a write-up or a release of that vulnerability until it's patched or until the contract ends. So this means that if such jailbreak is created, they're probably going to use very important vulnerabilities for the iOS 12 we will never be able to see. So this is what I'm trying to say. It's not only Apple that tries to acquire these vulnerabilities that are capable to create a jailbreak, we also have these companies like Zerodium who are paying large amount of money for such a jailbreak or for components of such a jailbreak, like privilege escalation or Sandbox escapes and a full jailbreak itself and so on. So this actually means that it's better to stay on a lower version. Always stay on a lower version because it's easier to get vulnerabilities in there. 0 days for the latest version are usually going to be either kept private or sold for this amount of money in here for Zerodium and other similar companies. Because I always get the question, well, why don't security researchers usually publish more vulnerabilities or make them available easier, or why do they have to wait 90 days like KillLab and Pangu lately and Alibaba security team and so on. And this is one of the reasons they do that. This is one of the reasons they demo actual jailbreaks but never release them, because they get probably sold to Zerodium and other companies that would pay this people money. Now, the takeaway from this is that you should never update to the latest version, no matter what. The older the version you're running, the more chances a jailbreak will be released, because there are more vulnerabilities available for that version. And speaking of that, iOS 12.1.3 will soon be released. It's currently in beta and it doesn't have major changes, so please do not update to iOS 12.1.3 and make sure that your device doesn't update by itself overnight. On iOS 12 you can actually toggle that off, so it will download the update but it will not install the update automatically, so make sure you have that toggled off in the settings. So yeah, this is pretty much it, guys. Thank you for watching. I wanted to talk about this Zerodium thing because a lot of people ask me, what do security researchers do with their vulnerabilities, how they sell it, who buys these vulnerabilities, and why is this a threat for the jailbreak community? Well, this is my explanation, and yeah, thank you for watching. I'm GeoSnow. Until the next time, peace out.